Welcome to Totem Pole Sports. Friday night, a lot of big things to talk about, a lot of things to recap. M2K, welcome to the building. Of course, the man from Seoul, Paul, disappeared and did not show up again. Disappointing. I think Coach Taylor is resting after he just came back from Colorado. So he must be very tired. So he has to regroup from the week after going to Miami and going to Colorado back to back on the same week. So 2 week vacation, meeting one of the best coaches and Jay Norvell, Bill Best, Mario Cristobal, and all the others from Miami and Colorado State as well. I wish he would have met primetime Deion Sanders, but you know Coach Taylor should be back next week, but it's just me on a Friday night. I came back just in time. Um, Coaching, the youth of football. Being a head coach is, very, 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 very important. I was by myself coaching the offense and the defense. I'm not saying it's difficult, but with the whistle and, the polo, and then, of course, the chain that everybody loved, obviously. And then, I didn't really wear the sunglasses on the turf field at 8 o'clock at night, but I wear them now because, it's my character. And, got a little Pepsi right here. But we won. I coach seventh and eighth graders, the senior team. That is, the level before you go to high school to play freshman, JV, and varsity. We won our first game 31-25. We came back being down 25-13. My quarterback threw two back-to-back pick sixes. That's something we'll talk about on Monday, but I'm just glad that we were able to pull off the win. And I'm very proud of the team that I have. I have a roster of a team. I have teammates that are great. We got to work on some things. It's game one, first game of the season. You got to work some things, make some adjustments, which that will be me. So I'll be taking the weekend to make some adjustments. But I want to let the world of America know that it's great to be on Total Post Sports, and getting the win as a head coach, 1-0, is great. But you do learn a lot more from a loss than you do from a win. But I will say I'm grateful for the win, but we got very, very lucky. But I tell you that if my team was down by 12 points, and they were able to come back and not let a team score. We made some mistakes on penalty wise. We make some crucial mistakes. It is what it is. But I'm very proud of my team. That's all I wanted to say. Let's get into the sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into sports. I love talking sports. First thing tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the NBA, right? NBA playoffs is 8 days away. NBA playoffs right around the corner. Joel Embiid. Oh, yeah. Joel Embiid and the 76ers scores 32 as they beat the Magic. Okay. Um, Joel Embiid, an MVP caliber player. I think he had a chance to win MVP this year if it wasn't from the scarce of the injury that he had earlier in the season. And how good would Philadelphia be? I think Philadelphia is maybe a threat. You got Tyrese Maxey on the court as well. You got Kelly Oubre Jr. But it's a tough race in the Eastern Conference. In NBA, it's very, very tough. Orlando, Indiana, and Philadelphia both have a record of 46-35, especially when the Pacers lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they're locked in the fifth, sixth, and seventh seed, respectfully, in the conference. And this Philadelphia win against Orlando Magic was a 3-game series swept. How do I feel about 76ers? Well, Nick Nurse, a championship coach after they fired Doc Rivers, a championship coach. He's won championships in the G League. I'm not sure what type of Philadelphia team we're going to get, especially earlier in the season. You traded away a lot of key defensive players like Patrick Beverly and some other guys. Um, is Joel Embiid going to play at MVP caliber when it comes to playoff time? Because last time I checked, the Philadelphia 76ers have not reached the Eastern Conference Finals since 2000, since Allen Iverson. And this Philadelphia team, they might win one series. I think I would put my money on maybe Philly, maybe beating Milwaukee, because I don't know what in the world is wrong with Milwaukee. They don't know how to use their talent with Giannis, being out the rest of the regular season. You got primetime Damian Lillard. He's still primetime, but it's Doc Rivers. So from Embiid, I think the 76ers will be fine into the playoffs, but don't expect them to be, what I'm saying, don't expect the Philadelphia 76ers to make any type of championship run, because guess who runs the East? The team that runs the East is the Boston Celtics. They continue to run the East. They will always run the East. And the last time I checked, the Philadelphia 76ers have trouble with Boston. Even Joel Embiid said himself that it's not even a rivalry. They beat their ass every single year. So we'll see how this goes. I think Philadelphia is definitely going to win a playoff series, but getting past Miami and Boston, no. The Magic will play the Bucks on Sunday. Sunday is the regular season finale, and then the 76ers also host the Brooklyn Nets. They got interim coach and Kevin Ali as the interim head coach for the Sixers. For the Nets. Next thing I want to talk about is, of course, my Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have actually been a disappointment the last couple games. There's I don't know if it's overreaction from the media, but there's some slight concern when it comes to the Boston Celtics. Do I have concerns of the Boston Celtics? I have concerns maybe when they get to the Eastern Conference Final. I don't have any, I'm not worried about them in the first or second round. I think they'll get past the first round and second round. But it's the Eastern Conference Finals. It's winning a championship. The Boston Celtics have been to the Eastern Conference Finals before, but they weren't able to finish. Them having the best record in the league, are they going to finish that story? It's like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes finished the story. Can the Boston Celtics finally finish their story and win an NBA championship? Boston Celtics, they rested their players. Peyton Pritchard, a guy great out of college, out of Oregon. He dropped 31, 11 assists that created his second double-double. The Celtics were almost close to losing 3 consecutive games for the first time this year. The longest losing streak they had was 2. But it feels like they lost 10 in a row. And when it comes to the Boston Celtics, it's all about, high expectations. High expectations are very, very, very important, right? When you set the bar for the Boston Celtics, when you've been there before, and the Boston Celtics hadn't won a championship since 2008, standards are high. Beating the Charlotte Hornets by 33 points. We've seen teams beat each other, or we've seen the Boston Celtics beat teams by 30-plus points the entire season. This is the momentum heading towards the playoffs. The starters will rest because their final game is against Washington. And trust me, nobody will watch that game. So if I'm Joe Mazzulla, rest your starters. Luke Cornett finished with 16 and 10. You had Sam Hauser, Neemias Queta. They both had 16. The top 6 rotation players are getting rest. They already locked in the top seed of the playoffs. So why bother playing? Why bother risking the injury? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derrick White, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford sit out. This is smart by Joe Mazzulla. Sit them out. Don't play them against Washington on Sunday. It's no point. Give them rest. Get them prepared for the playoffs because they're going to be the number 1 seed. The Boston Celtics do not lose at home. They barely lost at home. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to give players some opportunity. Jordan Walsh was a call-up tour player. They got J.D. Davison, Drew Peterson from the G League, and they all played tonight with Maine and Oklahoma City in Game 2 in the G League Finals. So they have that experience from the G League side of things. So they was letting their starters, their bench guys play. So if I'm the Boston Celtics, rush your starters. The Boston Celtics, you have a lot of expectations from me. You have to win a championship. What if the Boston Celtics do not win a championship? Then what is the world going to talk about? Next thing we can talk about here, we're going to get to some NFL. Quarterback Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond played for Jimbo Fisher at A&M before he got fired. Kellen Mond, I think, was a fourth-round draft pick. I mean, Kellen Mond, he was a great quarterback. I think if I'm not mistaken, Kellen Mond was probably a fourth-round draft pick. But Kellen Mond to the New Orleans Saints for a backup role, which means Drew Brees is going to be their starter, right? Dennis Allen is still their head coach. They have a new offensive coordinator. It's not Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael got fired. So, different offensive coordinator. He will compete for the backup role. Kellen Mond has had experience a lot in the NFL. I think he was drafted in the fourth round by the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, Minnesota Vikings drafted him. But this roster includes Nathan Peterman, a 2023 fourth-round draft choice, Jake Haener. So he was the 66th overall pick. Excuse me. He was not the fourth round. He was a third-round pick. Backup in Minnesota and a backup in Cleveland. And then he was in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis Colts practice squad. Well, the Saints really don't have much of experience in the backup position. So you got Taysom Hill is more like you don't really look at him as a quarterback anymore. You mainly more look at him as a big running back, tight end, I guess is what they translated him to. But Derek Carr, after signing that big money to go to the Saints, Dennis Allen's job is on the line. So them signing the quarterback, I think is great. You get some draft compensation, obviously. You got the draft that is about 13 days away. I don't see any issue of signing this quarterback. It's not really much to talk about here. The Saints need a backup quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if they draft one. I wouldn't say draft the quarterback in the first round, but maybe they draft one second round. I mean, it's a big quarterback class, so the Saints need some pieces. One of them is a quarterback, but they're not too much in need of a quarterback. But they got one, just in case. Injury roll. He will compete for the backup job. So that means whoever's on that roster, or they draft somebody in the draft, and then they compete from there. So we will see how this Kellen Mond thing goes. I don't think this will be an issue. We'll see who's going to be Derek Carr's successor in New Orleans. NBA, Karl Anthony Towns. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves enough. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards. We had not talked about them enough. There's 2 games left, and there's a 3-way tie between OKC, Denver, and Minnesota to get that number. They get the top spot in the Western Conference. It could go either way. This game can go. This team can go either way. I mean, this team has so much talent. Great coach. We just slept on them. We're not talking about them enough. We're talking about the defending champions of the Denver Nuggets. I don't feel like we're talking about them enough. So I want to give the Minnesota Timberwolves their flowers. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody saw this coming. OKC is good this year. Denver Nuggets, they won a championship. OKC being number one, number two seed, and then Minnesota and Denver, all trying to taste that home court advantage. They're trying to chase it. Karl Anthony Towns is back after missing 18 games with a meniscus tear in his knee. He had surgery on it. He came back very fast. He was sidelined since March 4th and then had surgery on March 12th, and he's a freak. He came back within a month. A month. I'm telling you, when it comes to injury, there's a lot of technology that goes on to it. These players are coming back faster than expected, especially on the meniscus tear in his left knee. He must have took rehab very seriously. I'm proud for Karl Anthony Towns. He's averaging 22 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 3 assists. Minnesota went 12-6 without him not being there. I don't think that was really an issue. They were still winning games. He'll definitely fit into a rhythm. But like I said, when it comes to Minnesota, they're trailing Denver by one game and they're tied with OKC. That is how close this roster is. I mean, excuse me, the standings are. That's how close the standings is. Like it's a lot of things that has happened. A lot of things. You look at the standings in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota. Oklahoma City and Denver are tied for number one seed right now, sitting at 56 and 25. The only thing that's stopping OKC has a better conference record than the Denver Nuggets have. They have a better conference record, and they have a 4-game winning streak. Denver Nuggets had the same record. Minnesota is right behind them. Like I said, like I told you, this Western Conference home court advantage it's 2 more games left in the season. It's not on lock yet. It's not on lock yet. It's not on lock yet. Let me tell you, it's not on lock. Anybody can get a number one seed. I'm not even going to choose who the number one seed. Whoever gets the number one seed out the West is probably the team that will most likely go to the NBA Finals. OKC is probably lesser than the Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets have been there. But the Minnesota Timberwolves with a healthy roster and Karl Anthony Towns being as dominant and as big as he is, it's going to be very, 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 very scary. Very scary for the teams in the West. Y'all can talk about Golden State and the Lakers. I'm not sleeping on them, but they're hot right now. They're getting hot late in the season. But I think those teams waited too late to get hot. And I'm not sure what type of Klay Thompson we're going to get if y'all going to mention the Warriors over the Timberwolves. Because I'm not. Timberwolves, Thunder, and the Denver Nuggets are basically 2-3-way tie for number one seed. College basketball. Donovan Klingman out of UConn is leaving for the NBA. He's played 2 seasons, but he's had 2 national championships. I can't complain. If I won 2 national titles, hey, I'll go to the NBA too. The man is winning. I think this guy brings in size. UConn is at size. Donovan Klingman is the main vocal point of why UConn won. Not the main vocal point, but one of the counterparts. Let me explain myself. 7'2" center. 7'2" center. He's a sophomore. Right? They try to compare him. They ain't trying to compare, but Dan Hurley has already have, NBA lottery picks. Klingman is one of them, and Stephon Castle. Right? Very important recruit for Dan Hurley. After he led Bristol Central High School to a state championship. His freshman year, he played a backup role, and then he became the most outstanding player. This guy, he scored 11 points, and, he had a task of trying to guard Zach Edey. Zach Edey, one of the best Big Ten players in college basketball. This guy still averaged, 37 points and 10 rebounds in the championship game, but the defense, it's all about defense at UConn. So he was part of that defense. You couldn't stop Zach Edey, but his defense contributed to other guys. They shut down the other guys, but Zach Edey's going to get his points. Donovan Klingman, I don't know if he's going to be his lottery picks, I don't know if it's going to be top 5. You can give me maybe top 10 or maybe 15. Who's out there in the draft right now? That's what we have to look at. It's a guard league. It's a point guard, shooting guard league now. Fast pace. We like guys with size, but the game of basketball has changed. And it's nothing against Klingman. It's nothing against him. But this game has become a faster pace. Maybe the Boston Celtics could probably use a guy like him. Who he want to get drafted by? Boston Celtics would be a good fit. The Golden State Warriors would probably be a good fit. Just to blend in with the size. But lottery pick. Yeah, he's a lottery pick. They got plenty of lottery picks. He's one of them. I have to wait and see the results. It's nothing against him. I just don't think he's a top 5 pick. I know he's 7'4" and all this other stuff, but nothing against him, man. It's nothing against him. We'll see if he's a top 5 pick. If I'm wrong, oh well. We'll see if this guy's a top 5 pick. If not, it is what it is. The NBA draft, ladies and gentlemen, is in June. So we have a long way to go. A long way to go. Tennessee Titans under new head coach and Bill Callahan, new coach. Get a reserve offensive tackle for a 7th round pick. Well, Brian Callahan needs a quarterback, so yeah, you need somebody to protect Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, or Malik Willis, whoever the Titans started quarterback for to be. I don't know. I think this is great for the organization of Tennessee Titans. It's a great start. Now, I've already said this before. I didn't like the Tennessee Titans firing Mike Vrabel. I know there's 2 seasons they make playoffs, but Who else was you gonna find better than Mike Vrabel? Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick don't even have jobs, right? Traded a 7th round pick to the Cleveland Browns for offensive tackle Leroy Watson the fourth. Waiting on a physical, Tennessee was sent a number pick of 227 to Cleveland to add depth to the offensive line. This guy has played 7 games in Cleveland last season. He spent the 2022 season with the San Francisco practice squad, and he was undrafted free agent out of Texas San Antonio. He played tight end. He had 25 catches for 2 touchdowns, 297 yards. Um, General manager, general manager Rand Carthen, worked for San Francisco in 2022, and then offensive line coach Bill Callahan has also coached the Browns offensive line last season. But this team with the Titans definitely needs depth at offensive tackle and tight end. They only have 3 tight ends on the roster as of now. When they started the offseason program, the draft is 13 days away. They'll get somebody. Offensive tackle has been an issue since Taylor Lewin tore his right ACL 2 times in 3 seasons. And the left tackle is expected to be a top target for Tennessee, which holds the 7th overall pick in April of 2025. The trade that they have still leaves Titans with a pair of 7th-round draft picks. So the Tennessee Titans have multiple 7th-round draft picks. The Cleveland Browns don't have a 1st round in the pick. This trade gives the Browns 6 overall selections, including 2 in the 7th round. Well, Cleveland is who won this trade? I mean, the Tennessee Titans probably won this trade. I mean, sometimes it comes down to who won the trade or who didn't win the trade, and sometimes it's not. Offensive line is very, very important. Taylor Lewin is one of the best guys they have, but that ACL is injury prone. You just don't know if he can stay healthy or not. That's always been the issue, whether he was able to stay healthy or not. That's always been the issue, if he's willing to stay healthy. The Titans, I think they'll be fine. Now, you got to replace Derrick Henry, which replacing one of the best running backs in football is going to be very, very hard. Now, do you get free agents running back, or do you get somebody in the draft as well? But getting an offensive lineman is very, very important. They like to run the ball. So I feel like this new set of the Tennessee Titans team will be able to run the ball more with pass protect. Whoever's going to be the starting quarterback. I'm not sure if it's going to be Ryan Tannehill going forward. He's injured all the time, and Will Levis. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the quarterback situation between Tannehill and the team. We'll see if he starts, or do you trust Will Levis or Malik Willis? All right, final thing to talk about. I was right about this yesterday. The final thing I wanted to talk about is Kentucky. Kentucky basketball has hired Mark Pope as the head coach. Now, I know I said they targeted him yesterday, but they actually hired him. So, Mark Pope is the new head coach after they went 0-4 for searches. He is the new head coach of Kentucky. A former alumni who won a championship in 1996. What does this trade mean? I don't know. What's happening in college basketball? Shocked basketball world when SMU fired Rob Lander following a 20-win season. It opened for Andy Enfield to leave USC and fill the opening. Eric Musselman left Arkansas to replace Enfield at USC, and then John Calipari went to Arkansas. And The Kentucky athletic director, Mitch Barnett, would swing. He was getting the top recruits. Dan Hurley wasn't going anywhere. He got, you know, he won back-to-back titles, but says he could not afford a divorce. And they was going to pay him, but they was going to pay him $12 million a year. Couldn't offer a divorce. Scott Drew traveled, decided to stay. Billy Donovan is staying in the NBA. I wouldn't take a Kentucky job if I'm in the NBA. But Kentucky needs to land a coach with experience and winning pedigree. I've already said this. I understand he's an alumni, but I got to see. I'm not going to put my heart and soul into this man, Mark Pope. And I respect for what he's done for alumni of Kentucky and, being a part of history. I'm not bashing the man. I'm not shaming the man. And, none of that other stuff. I'm not doing that at all. Not doing that at all. I just hope this is the right decision. He was never even mentioned until they filled with top candidates. He was never even in the consideration. This is more like a backup. This is more like a plan F or a plan Z. They went through. It's like Kentucky went through all 26 letters of the alphabet to find a coach. Kentucky should have supported John Calipari more, but that just wasn't the case. Mark Pope had good stints at Utah Valley and BYU, but it's for Kentucky fans that have been spoiled. What kind of expectation are you going to bring for this man in Mark Pope? Because you can't compare this guy to John Calipari's resume. The second winningest coach in Kentucky history. Nobody will ever break that again. I think if Mark Pope were the coach in Kentucky, there'll be a barely 17-win team like Virginia Tech was with Mike Young. All the talent you have, you don't know how to use it. Which means Kentucky was the number two. Kentucky's number two recruiting class. They're number two. But I bet you, all them guys, that committed to Kentucky because of John Calipari gonna go to Arkansas. And last time I checked, oh Lord, Kentucky is not even. Ooh, I was right. How do you replace John Calipari? Look at the recruiting right now. I know it's not over. Number 1 is Duke. Number 2 is Kansas. Number 3 is Alabama. Number 4, Arizona. 5, Rutgers. 6, Miami. 7, Missouri. 8, LSU. 9, Baylor. 10, North Carolina. 11, Texas. Kentucky at number 12. So with the John Calipari departure, last time I checked, Kentucky was ranked number 2. Number 2 in recruiting. They went from 2 to 12. They went from 2 to 12. And the champion in UConn, because they built from the transfer portal, they're ranked number 40. UConn won back-to-back championships. The recruiting rate is 40. Virginia Tech is ranked higher than them. Virginia Tech ain't never won a Final Four in men's history. What does that tell you? NIL, Mark Pope, you have to use the transfer portal. If you don't use the transfer portal, you're going to end up like Dabo Swinney. You have to be able to use the transfer portal, Mark Pope. These 3 recruits you have, I don't think they're staying in Kentucky. You might lose everybody. You got to start from scratch. Mark Pope, you got to know how to recruit. This Kentucky organization, I hope I'm wrong. I'm hope it's different. I hope it's different. But without John Calipari, there's still a big blue school, big blue nation. It's just not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. They dropped 10 spots in recruiting after John Calipari left. Just wait. Give John Calipari 1-2 years in Arkansas. Arkansas gonna be top 5 in recruit. But what is Mark Pope's expectations? You want Mark Pope to make the Elite Eight in his first year? Mark Pope gonna have to rebuild the whole entire roster. How many 5 stars and 4-star players this man gonna get? He Mark Pope, BYU. I understand they lost to, Duquesne. They lost to Duquesne in the tournament. You couldn't get Jay Wright. Jay Wright said, "Oh no, it's too hard. NIL, all this stuff." Jay Wright retired from Villanova for a reason. I understand that Pope won a national title. He understands to study basketball, but this fan base is crucial. This is a crucial fan base. And they've been on John Calipari's ass since 2015. Even that year, with Willie Cauley-Stein, Devin Booker, the Harrison brothers, they went 38-0 and lost to Wisconsin. Kentucky has waited 12 years and only have one title. The last couple tournaments, they hadn't even been competitive. He better attract the top recruiting classes. He better. He better, because if he don't recruit, I don't know. Because Hubert Davis and John Schneider, young coaches, in their second, third years, and their recruiting is still up top. But with the loss of Rob Dillingham turned pro, Aaron Bradshaw was part of the recruitment. He committed to the transfer portal. So we'll see if this guy can bring recruits. And I'm not hating on the guy. It just as a Kentucky guy, as a fan that's been passionate for Kentucky, I just don't know. We will see how this goes. Thank you, Totem Pole Nation. Thank you for Totem Pole Nation for tonight. Thank you for Friday night. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to Totem Pole Nation, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Anybody, we are sponsored by St. Pete Rejuvenate. Been a long night. I want to thank you for watching it. Everybody that tuned in for the whole show. We'll see if the man from Soul and Coach Taylor come back next week. But if not, I'll one-man sold this myself like I've been doing. Y'all have a great night. Please take care.